Today, we're gonna make this humidor. No, I already gave it to the customer before I shot this intro. We're gonna start by breaking down all of our pieces into rough sizes. Taking it over to the joiner, getting one nice clean square edge, then taking it over to the table saw to rip off our rough edge and bring it to our final width. Putting it through the planer to get flat on both sides, and we're going to resaw it using our table saw. When you resaw, save that 1/4 inch piece, but make sure you leave that little tab in there for safety. Then we're going to cut our miters on all 4 corners and bring our pieces to final length. Cutting out a rabbet for our bottom, which is a 1/2 inch sheet of plywood. These are the pieces we resawed, and we're going to reuse them for our top. Adding some weight and some clamps. Now that we know what our final dimensions are for our top, we cut a rabbet for the proper thickness. We got it temporarily in clamps right now. It's not glued or anything like that. But now that we got the rabbet cut on both the top and the bottom, off camera, I cut a little plywood bottom to go in here. Now, the reason why it's plywood and I don't really care about it is because the inside is going to be this, which is Spanish cedar. Now, I actually had a hard time finding this locally, but I found these on Amazon. So now these are 1/4 inch thick, about 4 inches wide, 12 inches long. I'll leave a link to the Amazon purchase that I made below in case you want to buy them for yourselves. So the reason why you want to put Spanish cedar inside here, Spanish cedar is like the industry standard for making humidors. Because you gotta remember, humidors are gonna trap humidity and moisture. Anywhere from 65 to 72% humidity in there. That would cause normal wood to expand and contract. You'll crack your joints, it'll be a big mess. But Spanish cedar is stable, which means it's not going to expand and contract on that huge humidity differential from the outside. Wow, I wish I could talk. Now, I did a little bit of research on this. Spanish cedar, where you can use, mahogany is another one, but Spanish cedar is kind of the preferred method. But mahogany might be easier for you to get a hold of in case you want to do this. Now we're going to glue up all our miters using a ratchet clamp to hold it tight and making sure everything is square. Gluing in our top and our bottom plywood base with some clamps. Then we're going to cut our splines. Now, this is a spline jig I whipped up pretty quickly. And gluing in our contrasting splines. And then nipping off the excess with a pull saw and shaping with a block plane and sanding everything. Now we're cutting the top off. Make sure your blade is not too high and you support that top piece as it comes apart. Sanding all the glue. And it turned out pretty nice. See how that grain, when you make it all in one piece, matches up. It looks really good. Glue in our Spanish cedar liner. And now for the hinges. I use my marking knife to get a nice clean line and use my chisel to mortise out for the hinge so that our top closes flush with our bottom. Putting in the brand. And now we're going to do an inlay with epoxy. This is something I just printed off to get a nice font, make sure that the logo is right in the center. Taking a little X-Acto knife to cut out all of the parts where we're going to carve so we have a nice stencil to go through. I saw this technique from RLL Woodworks. I'll leave a link in the description to his YouTube channel. I think he posted a video on this on Instagram. But we're going to cut out all of the black parts is where we're going to carve. And I make sure you use green frog tape. It's the only one I know that holds really well. It keeps the spray adhesive on there and it doesn't peel up very easily. But then we're going to take our carving bits on our Dremel tool using 2 different sizes, one to hog out majority of it and then one for detail. And just make a nice recess for the epoxy to set in so then when we sand it flush, the epoxy has enough to bite into. Then we're going to take this little sanding stone bit and kind of just refine some of the curves. The carving bits leave a bit of a rough edge on the outside of our lines, so we use the sanding stone to refine it and make sure we're matching our template. And you can see here, it turned out pretty good. Now, time for some epoxy. Now I'm going to use Total Boat here with a medium hardener. This will set up overnight. We're going to use some black diamond gold here for the letters and a pearlescent white for the outer ring. You want to make sure that you pour enough to go over the edge so that it fills adequately, and use a little popsicle stick in order to break up all of the bubbles inside. So I went through with a hand plane to kind of flush up majority of it and took the rest off with a sander. Little water, just let it pop, and you can see it turned out pretty good. Now for finish, we're using a boiled linseed oil and polyurethane mixture. I have a video here on how I made that, but just wipes on, let it soak for 10 minutes, and then wipe off all of the excess. Okay guys, so I know you just saw me put on that little white oak dowel knob thing. Truth is, I don't like the way it looks. Okay, the real truth is my wife didn't like the way it looked, so I had to fix it. I tried cutting down the knobs, it didn't stick out as far, but it just didn't look good. But I raided my local hardware store because I didn't have time to wait for Rockler. So I even bought like this little like bronze bushing, and I thought maybe I can put a brass screw in there and screw it in, which might look nice. I even tried these little things for like the back of a picture hanger, maybe to put that on there and have a little D-ring. Didn't like it. This is what we're going with. It's gonna go on the front. These are just little, they're called stair gauges. What they do is they go on the side of a framing square. They tighten down so you can get repeatable cuts for stair treads. As you can see in the close-up, there is a little like gap for your framing square to go into. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna cut off this front piece and then put a brass insert in there to be able to screw it in. Well guys, I hope you enjoyed that project. I know it was a lot of fun to make, and I almost didn't want to give it to the customer because I loved it so much. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. If you like this video, please like and subscribe, hit that thumbs up notification, and hit that bell icon to get notified the next time I have a new video. Anyway guys, thank you for joining me here on Shepherd's Workbench.